starts as like a shark that comes out the toilet and eats a babysitter arsehole first. That's literally the premise of the film. Right? It's ridiculous. No one's ever wanted me on a podcast before.
Is this actually your first podcast that you've ever done?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad
Super
to be
special.
popping your podcast cherry.
Yeah. And for the Star Halloween special.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you for actually being here.
Thank you for inviting me to be here.
To be fair, we probably spoke already for about an hour worth of stuff, so we may have to recycle some conversation just for the audience.
That's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about it again.
Yeah, to be fair. I suppose you talk about it a lot anyway when you're with clients and that. Do you always get asked the same kind of questions when you tattoo?
Yeah, all the time.
What's like a typical one someone always says?
A lot of people, you know what is quite common? A lot of people ask, like, oh, what's the favourite tattoo you've ever done? And then you kind of have this awkward moment where you're like, do I have to say yours?
Oh, yeah.
Did you
tattoo my friend last week?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I can't say, oh, yeah, I did one that was really good. Common questions are like, how you get into it and stuff. Did you always want to do it? How long have you been doing it? And all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty good at just like chatting.
Do you find yourself going on a bit on autopilot mode when you get those questions though?
Yeah, usually. But it's the same answer, isn't it?
The thing is, when I'm doing because I've done a couple of these now, and obviously bits and pieces for magazines and that, I find that I sometimes get bored of my own questions because it's like, although it's good for the artist to explain and the audience members and the readers, they're going to want to know.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, oh, when did you start tattooing? Oh, how long have you been doing this for?
Yeah.
It's the same questions, but everyone's got a bit different backstory.
Yeah, I can imagine
it's always
that.
nice, isn't it, really? You explained a little bit earlier about how you was kind of getting into, the certain style that you do and stuff.
Yeah.
But
how
did you start getting into tattooing, Gareth?
I wanted to be a tattooer when I was 13 because I saw Travis Barker covered in tattoos and I was like, that's how I want to look.
Yeah.
I want to look like that. That looks mad.
And the drumming as well.
Yeah.
We'll move on to that eventually.
Because I'd always like drumming anyway. So, and then I was like, all right, that's how I want to look. So I started drawing some tattoos that I would want. And then I was like, oh, that's all right. That doesn't look too bad. And then people would be like, oh, can you draw me a tattoo? And I'd be like, yeah, all right. I'll draw one for someone. And then I was kind of like, about when I was like 13, 14, I was like, well, maybe I should like be the guy that does the tattoos then. Because I really like drawing these and people like me drawing them for them.
Yeah.
So then I obviously said I wanted to be a tattoo artist and that I was back right then at school. All my teachers were like, you're not going to be a tattoo artist, just get a real job, mate. Like,
get a real job.
Stop drawing on your arm and concentrate.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So, yeah. And then I just like got normal jobs and I was just trying to find an apprenticeship. Because obviously it was like quite hard to.
So at this point, you just had like a sketchbook full of random stuff.
Just loads of drawings that I'd done, and I had like my old folder for which we had like drawings from when I was 13, and then I actually got an apprenticeship with my first boss, Roger, and I had lost my folder with all my drawings in.
Oh no way!
Yeah. Well, it turns out later I found it about 3 months later. My dad had asked for it to show some of his mates my drawings.
Yeah.
And he had moved like house or whatever, and I just like it had got lost in translation somewhere. But I found it months later. But so I went and my buddy Sean had said, I think who was working with Roger at the time, he was like, I think my boss wants an apprentice. So I went in there and just said I wanted to be an apprentice, and he told me to go away and draw some stuff. And I came back, and that was that really. That was just basically like he was like, okay, cool, yeah, when you start. I was like, I'll stay now. So. And then I just was there. I just went in full force because I was so sick of working normal, boring jobs. Like,
yeah,
I'd worked on a bar for a while, which was all right. That was cool. I like just talking to people. And stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd been like a manager in Amazon. That was like soul destroying. Yeah.
Wow.
Just walking around an Amazon factory like all day.
Oh, that wasn't a rewarding job.
No.
Oh.
No, but I did. I was the person that had to go around and tell everyone that like you're not doing enough work.
Yeah, because there's like time, that you have to get this done in this amount of time, and if you're not, then.
And I was always sound. I was just like, look, just do what you can do, because I was like, it's not my company.
You're just like, I know it's shit. It's shit.
Yeah, I know you're busting your balls.
Just you see how you don't want to be here.
I just have to walk around and tell everyone you're not doing enough. And it was like, that was horrible. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You've got to do what you've got to do, and it's a job.
Yeah.
But
so you started the apprenticeship. Are you at this point saying I want to be a horror artist, and that
I'd always wanted to do black and grey, but when I was in there initially, I was doing the traditional stuff because Roger was doing all the black and grey.
A lot of the walk-ins and
yeah, and you always start out on the smaller stuff anyway. You always have to start out doing little bits and bobs,
like daggers, roses.
Yeah, because you've got to get your fundamentals down anyway. So I don't think you can kind of just jump in and just be like, right, I want to just do fine line stuff. I just want to do realism, or I just want to do color. Because sometimes you have stuff come in and you need to be able to do it. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, in different scenarios, different places, there's more demand for certain styles. I work in an area where you kind of just do a little bit of what you want to do, but you do have to do some stuff as well. Standard street.
Yeah.
So it's good to keep your hand in it. We've got one of them get what you get machines in.
Oh, really?
That's gone down a storm.
How popular really are these? Because we see loads of people jumping on them, and it's like, is it a bit of a gimmick, or is it actually genuinely bringing in the cash?
Our one at Flagship, right?
Yeah.
That's the shop I'm working at. We had put that up. Jordan had said he wanted to do one. Jordan's one of the owners. He said he wanted to do one, and that was in April, I believe. And Ben and Ollie drew 100 designs between them because I don't really do traditional, so they just kind of did the designs.
Well, like palm size?
Yeah, kind of palm size, a little bit over. Some of them are a bit bigger, some of them a bit smaller.
Yep.
And they did 100 designs between them. There's about 30 at most left.
Whoa,
we have people book in for them.
How much for a spin on it? And obviously
60.
And that whatever you get, that's your tattoo.
We let you do a respin if you want for another 20.
That's not too bad.
No.
And then that one just gets popped back in.
The one that's unused goes back in.
Yeah.
But there's only like 30 left. And they're all good designs as well. But like the thing that we like to pride ourselves on, some of them we've seen before, and they're just like printouts of like Sailor Jerry and stuff like that.
The typical stuff.
Yeah.
It's not exactly custom. Like a lot of the stuff, like you see it everywhere, but at the same time, someone out there's probably got the exact same tattoo as you anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's already done it 100 times.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas they're all classic designs. So, we've got like the eagle and the snake and so on like that, and daggers and all that.
Yeah.
But they're still custom drawn by Ollie and Ben. So there's still a nice little edge to it.
A personal touch somewhere.
Exactly. You're still technically getting a little custom tattoo, which either Ben or Ollie has drawn. So I do them every now and then because I have to do real tattoos sometimes. So I don't get real tattoos where you have to actually put lines in.
Oh, God, lines.
I love doing them because I don't do it that often. So it's really cool. I love it because it's keeping my hand in it. You know what I mean?
Keeps you a bit fresh as well, doesn't it, I suppose?
I get to do a bit of traditional every now and then, which I don't do.
Yeah.
And I put my own little spin on. They're usually like black and grey with like a bit of red or a bit of orange.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy them. And our one has gone mad. Like, I don't think any of us thought it was going to be as big of a deal as it was.
Yeah.
Like Ben the other day, I think he did 3 in a row. Just 3 people came in and was like, can we do Get What You Get? And
that's cool, like, that is. Yeah.
So, and they're really good because a couple of the people that have had them, not everyone, but a couple of them have turned into like regular clients because they get like a little cool tattoo.
Good experience, like the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. And we all have a laugh in the shop. Like, we don't take ourselves seriously. We'll just like take the piss out of each other all day. It's just like, that's it. We just like have quite a cool, like, funny atmosphere. Like, I'm sure every shop on the planet says that,
Yeah.
But we'd like to just pride ourselves on just taking the piss out of each other.
If the client likes the atmosphere and they're all about it, then it's like, I want another tattoo. I'll go back to these guys.
But as well, people get kind of surprised at what's in there. Like, when people think Get What You Get, they think they're going to get like a tiny little thing. It's 60 quid and whatever.
Yeah.
But some of them that have come out, like, when you've got like a nice traditional eagle holding a snake, and Ben does it in like full color as well. He'll put like a lot of color in.
Yeah.
And they're walking away with these tattoos that are sick for like 60 quid.
Yeah, it's a good bargain, isn't it?
People come back. We've got like, I swear there's like one guy that's had about 4 or 5 on his leg, and he's got like a really nice sort of like
turns into like a bit of a
semi-leg
traditional
sleeve
thing.
Of these just Get What You Get, because he's just like so open to the idea.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because like as a client, my first initial thought is, ooh, I want to know what I want to get.
We do have a lot of clients.
However, certain things that, as I've constantly said I've probably said his name every single episode, but when Josh did this sleeve for me, a lot of this shit I didn't know I was going to get until the actual day he was free-handing it on me saying, yeah, what do you think of that? Yeah, fuck it, that was good, that does.
Yeah, but that's it.
So this little machine idea is actually kind of cool because it's like builds suspense, doesn't it?
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, we've got a video on the TikTok that Jordan's big into, like, he likes doing the TikTok videos of them.
Yeah.
So we've got a video on the TikTok where it shows all of the designs. And there's no bad designs in there. They're just cool little, like, a little skull or, like, standard, like, traditional Flash stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, it's kind of blown all of our minds, to be fair. We didn't think it was going to be as big
of how
of a
popular
deal.
it is.
Yeah. Like, and it's just crazy because, but then I don't know whether it's maybe the price as well. People that are willing to take a risk for a cheaper tattoo, because everyone,
like, even if you have to redo it and spend 20 quid, another 20 quid, and then you go, shit, that's the one that I want. You're still only spending like the actual price that it would be anyway, really, if not less.
I mean, some of the designs, I honestly think, like, if Ben was to do them in like a little bit bigger, you know, they'd be like at least 200 to 250.
You look at you nearly going half day rate, then, aren't you, really?
Exactly. And even some of the bigger of the small ones, if you know what I mean, like some of the bigger designs in there would be 120 if you booked in for it. So you're getting it for like half price already. Yeah. And I think that does entice people in initially. But then we have other people that we tattoo all the time and they don't care about the money. It's just like a bit of a gimmick. It's a bit of like a laugh. We have a couple.
I want to be involved in that.
We have a couple come in and they do it like, you know, they swapped last time because they each got one that they liked, but they're like, I want that one. So they just swapped the design. But it was like, they like doing it every now and then to just come in and do something together that's a bit like spontaneous.
Yeah. It's like a bit of a day out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got a tattoo booked. Oh, really? What, you didn't say, I'm going to go and win a
randomly
tattoo?
Get one. Yeah, just randomly get. But we have people book in for them now. We had literally the other day, someone rung up and said, can I book in for a get what you get? So they wanted to book a slot.
That's like it's turned itself on its head a bit. Mate, it sounds like it's meant to be a bit of a pull them in, but it's already like, I want to go in.
It's gone the whole other way now, where initially it did pull people in, and now it pulls that many people in. We have people booking just to be able to do it.
Jesus Christ.
So it's crazy.
So there you go. If anyone wants to bring in a few more people,
get what you get's at Flagship. There's
get
not
what
many
you
left.
get. Absolutely, yeah. There's only 30 left, and one guy might have 10 of them, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think one guy's had about 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool though. Like,
would you ever do a get what you get, but like your style, but like, you know, it's one of those, you turn up, you're having a half day with me, get what you get. Like horror characters.
I'm quite fast anyway, so I don't think I could do some like little get what you get realism bits.
Yeah,
I reckon for like, I don't know, I could probably do them.
I reckon that would be really cool to see, like, especially if someone loves their black and grey and their horror and they're well in with your kind of style. Like all the Jason Voorhees might you could just have all of those people. Like
I could do some of that, to be fair, but the problem is our get what you get is all drawn by Ben and Ollie. Because that's the style they do. Yeah. So when you get into that, we kind of do it for whoever's free. Yeah. If I've got nothing in, say like tomorrow, Wednesday, it's Tuesday tomorrow, Wednesday. If I've had a cancellation this week, so if I'm there and someone comes in for a get what you get, I'll do it. Yeah. So it needs to be something that everyone can do, which is going back to, like I said, about fundamentals earlier. Yeah. Learning those in the beginning. I've managed to retain that. If I'd have not done the traditional when I was an apprentice,
you wouldn't have that.
If I'd have just gone in straight away,
yeah.
How you see some people nowadays, they just go, I'm just going to do fine line. And they just do fine line.
Sounds like you need that foundation ahead of everything else, really.
Yeah. And there's things that like I learned and I never use. Like I learned how to put like solid colour in. I can't remember the last time I put solid colour in. Like minus a little bit I put into one of these get what you gets.
Yeah.
But I've not done a full colour piece in years.
Well, how about this then? The get what you get style of getting a tattoo, but your style merged together like Flash horror characters.
Well, we've got a Halloween Flash day at our shop.
Okay, literally, that makes a lot of sense.
We're doing a Halloween Flash day, and Ben's already put his designs up. Ollie's just put his up last week. Mine are going up the end of this week, I believe. Yeah. Starting next. But it's on the 29th, Saturday. And we've got loads of just Halloween Flash. We're all going to be dressed up.
Amazing.
Well.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're all going for it.
What's you dressed up?
I can't say.
Oh!
I don't want to ruin it. You just have to check on the Instagram.
Or are you going to go as Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Oh mate, I wish I can't tackle in that with like big gill hands, can I?
Hey, you mentioned it earlier, but for the audience as well, and obviously it's a cool story. Where did the name Creature from the Black Tattoo come from?
So I basically, I used to skate Creature skateboards when I was a kid because Creature from the Black Lagoon was my favourite horror film. I remember watching it at my nan's because when we used to stay at hers, she would we'd sleep on the pull-out bed in the living room.
Yeah.
And she'd be like sat at her dining table just like chain smoking, and, watching old films on the TV.
Smoking their Marlboros.
Yeah. Oh yeah, mate. She used to like take one drag and sit there and it'd burn her finger and she'd and then
Bloody cigarettes.
she'd strike another one up. That's mad. So she would sit there and she'd be watching whatever. I remember the first thing I ever watched. This sounds ridiculous, right? But bear in mind I was about 7.
Okay.
I remember like looking through the duvet like this, and she was watching Midsummer Murders. It terrified me. Honestly, I was like so scared. I was like, someone's just been killed on the telly. Like,
someone's been stabbed.
Yeah, it was awful. But then she would be up till late, and she'd have the telly on loud, and I would just like be watching the telly when I should have been asleep, like one eye open.
Mm.
And one night she had Creature from the Black Lagoon was on. Probably on like Channel 4 or something, you know, when they used to put old horrors on in the evening, like 11 o'clock.
And today's 11 o'clock movie is...
And I just remember watching it and just being like, what is this? And it reminded me of Scooby-Doo as well, because obviously they had the gill creature in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And
I was like, what is this? And I just loved the fact that it was all like filmed and it was like underwater. And me being like 8 or whatever, however old
just
I was,
absorbed it all.
it was real to me.
Mm.
That wasn't like a man in a suit. That was a real creature from the Black Lagoon. I was like, what is this? Right? So I remember being like, the next morning I was like, Nan, what was that film? And she was like, you're supposed to be asleep. Like,
what was the hand for then?
You're supposed to be asleep.
I was different back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all right. You could beat people then. No, she was all right. But she was like, you were supposed to be asleep. Were you watching that? It was Creature from the Black Lagoon, by the way. And I was like, right.
That's all I need to know.
So then I told, Mum, I watched Creature from the Black Lagoon at Nan's. What? Like, but it's not a scary horror film. Like nowadays, it's like PG, I think.
Yeah. It's more like a... Come on.
Yeah. But that, like, obviously, when it came out in the 50s, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
So that was that. And then when I got old enough to like start skateboarding, I obviously saw Creature skateboards, and they all had spooky designs. They had like skulls on them, and they were all green and purple and orange, like Halloween colors. And they were called Creature. So I was like, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'll go get a Creature skateboard. Yeah. I think one of the old designs even had a Creature from the Black Lagoon on it.
Sounds like it's a perfect fit.
Mate, yeah, I loved it. So I used to skate on the Creature skateboards, and I was the only one that did. And everyone just knew me as the Creature skateboard kid. So
how long did that even stick for? Was it literally just constant?
It was literally until they knew my name. But I loved it. Because I think for like the first 3 weeks, they'd be like, oh, Creature's here. And I was like, I love it. That's my nickname now. And it didn't stick. I think I ended up with a horrible nickname like Gazza or something like that.
Gaz.
Yeah, awful. I hate it.
It's like whenever someone's, what's your name?
Yeah.
Is it Gareth or Gaz?
I just say Gareth.
Gareth, okay.
Gareth, yeah. But
I usually know Gareth as Gaz, really. So that's a bit of a weird turnaround.
Alex in the shop, the piercer, who's the other owner, he's a massive football fan, and he always calls me Gazza. Because I will come in the morning and he'll be like, morning, Gazza. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I don't even like football. So,
going back anyway. So
so then that kind of disappeared after that. And then when Instagram first come around, whenever that was, however many years ago.
Yeah.
I just had my name as Gareth Watson Tattoo. I've still got that as like one of my email addresses. I just set it all up when I'd kind of nearly finished my apprenticeship, and it was like I remember buying an iPhone just to have Instagram.
Wow.
Like, because when it first came out, it was iPhone only, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, and everyone was going on about how good it was for promotion and putting all my drawings on and trying to get. So I was like, right, well, I need an iPhone. I need Instagram. Everyone's raving about this. So I just had Gareth Watson Tattoo, and I was like, this is boring. And then I had it for like a year or so, but I was like, I just need something a bit cooler, don't I? And then there was another app that come out called like Amino or something, right? Something like that. It kind of came out and died straight away. Nobody really used it. And I was like, I need a cool name. And I was like, something like Creature from the Black Tattoo. And my missus was like, that's cool. You should keep that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep that. And I've had it ever since. It's been like, I don't know, maybe 6 years.
You know what? When I first started as Stow, and obviously you were still already involved because of the Empire connection, all that kind of stuff, I didn't know your name for a long time.
Did you? A lot of people don't. That's going to ruin it now.
Like sometimes it would be like, oh, there's an order on the thing, and it's for this Empire sponsor, Gareth Watson. I'd be like, never heard of him.
Who's him?
And then I look it up. It's like Creature. Oh.
I still have people, like some of my mates now just call me Creature. When I go to like horror conventions and stuff, they're just like, oh, all right, Creature.
Mr. Black Tattoo.
I love it. I love
Creature
that
from the
nickname.
Black
That's a
Tattoo.
cool nickname.
Yeah.
Like, rather than Gaza. That's
It's
going to be
got a
my
bit of a
nickname.
different reputation
Everyone that watches this is going to, every time they see me now, be like, oh, Gaza!
Gaza! Yeah.
This is going to be the bane of it. Bane of my existence.
Well, this will be a clip, this will be all over.
You have to edit out every word I've said Gaza, just put Creature.
Or just like the little subtitle Creature in stars.
An asterisk.
Yeah.
Yeah, bleep it out like a swear word. Leave the swear words in, but just take Gaza out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I come up with it. And it was just like, and then I just went, oh, I'm just going to dive into it. So I made like a logo out of it. And like,
yeah.
I've kind of normalized my logo a bit now. I really went in on like the Creature from the Black Lagoon stuff. I had like a frame with the head of the creature on and all the colors. I think my original business card was like, I had like the circular Creature from the Black Lagoon scales all over the card and stuff. So it looked cool, but I just kind of normalized it a bit now. It's a bit
yeah, like the one that you showed earlier.
That is a cool
pretty
card.
nice.
But so yeah, I think that kind of come around though, normalizing it and making it a bit more. I say normalizing, it's just a bit more sort of sharp looking. It's because of all the digital artwork I've been doing over the course of the last few years. You just kind of learn to like make it look a bit more businessy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of all about.
I suppose it just shows the way you've kind of like, not in a weird way, but it just shows maturity, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just like it. I like to have it look smart. I think that's the cool. Like, when I first did it,
something
it was
for the
all
masses as well, not just for the fanatics of horror movies. And
exactly,
because
like there's people on the planet, unfortunately, that have never heard of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And even then, even when my dad's like, "Oh, I'm trying to show my mate your Facebook. What is it?" And I'm like, "Creature from the Black Tattoo," and he's like, "What?
What?
Why can't it just be your name? Like,
can't it just be Gaza or something?" No, Dad.
No, it's definitely not Gaza, Dad.
You just mentioned it just now, but I want to bring up this conversation because obviously we've spoke about it earlier. But you do a lot of tattooing.
Yeah.
You do a lot of artwork on the tablet.
Yeah.
Drawing, painting, oil painting.
I do some oil painting. I did an oil painting a couple of years back that got sold in Animal Kingdom for rhino conservation. It's one of my friends who was living in Florida. He now lives in Seattle, Chad. And Jill, they have a rhino conservation called Horns and Heroes.
Wow, okay.
And he used to work with rhinos at Animal Kingdom. So they did like a fundraiser thing. So he asked me if I wanted to do a painting. Yeah. That would be auctioned off. All the money went to the company. That's nice. I did like a cool rhino painting. That was cool. That was an oil painting. I do some model making, like model kit stuff. Painting with like miniatures and stuff like that. Not like Warhammer, but like...
Stuff where you have that like magnifying glass here and you're doing all the small intricate stuff. Yeah,
not tiny though. They're like I can't remember the scale. I swear they're like 1/8 scale. So they're like action figure size. Yeah. But they're like Aurora model kits and Mobius. So they do like I've done a Creature from the Black Lagoon kit and a Frankenstein's monster and Munsters and Michael Myers. They do all the horror kits. Yeah. So I paint them. I haven't in a long time because I need to be in a specific mental place to be able to focus on it. Yeah. And throughout COVID, mate, I just couldn't focus on it. It was just like, my head was all over the shop. So that's why I got more into my digital drawing though. So I've always done a little bit on my iPad with Procreate. Yeah. I did some t-shirt designs for some of my friends' companies in the beginning.
You did the Plague Doctor for us?
I did the Plague Doctor and I did the hex print of the house. Yeah. That was on my iPad as well. That was before I'd kind of ventured into the full digital artwork thing. Right, yeah. So there's like a really big step. Like everyone now uses iPads. I remember when I first got my iPad, I was working at the shop at Who Dares Inks at the time. I was working for my boss, Matt. And I bought an iPad to draw all my stencils on. And it was unheard of that. Yeah, everyone was there like hand carboning and stuff, and you'd only just kind of got all running through those big thermal printers, you know, not
the
like
big massive like
not like the new like Brother printer ones. Yeah. So, and I'd bought it back then, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do some drawings and stuff on it. And he was a bit old school. He was like, just use pen and paper. He did a lot of mandala work, and he used to draw it all by hand.
Drawing mandalas by hand?
Mate, it was amazing.
I suppose they did, obviously, but like it's unheard of a little bit now, really, isn't it?
Crazy now.
Usually it's just like you have the iPad on the, you have your design there and you do this bit and then it's symmetrical and everything.
This is it. But he used to do it, he'd like literally be like folding like paper up, like so it was all matched. No idea how he had the patience for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, did really, really nice work with it as well. And he was like, yeah, just use paper, mate. And I was like, nah, this would be quicker.
Yeah.
Like, and it weren't in the beginning. Like trying to work out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm quite savvy with all that kind of stuff. But even then it was like so foreign to me because I'd learned how to draw, like with a light box and you'd like practice tracing stuff.
Yeah.
So when I would first learn, I would like trace a rose 10 times and then I'd draw it like not blindfolded, but with no reference 10 times. So you get that muscle memory.
Yeah.
Well, that muscle memory doesn't work on an iPad really. When you can make it bigger and smaller and turn it round.
Yeah.
You can orientate it in any way you need to.
Okay.
So doing this movement doesn't work when the screen's this big. Do you know what I mean? Because when you zoom out, then it's either tiny or huge. So that was like
I suppose also like the hardness of the actual tip as well is also going to be quite a bit of a factor to learn, isn't it?
That's it. And I remember I got one of those paper screens. That was technically just a matte screen protector.
Paper screen?
Yeah.
So rather than the glossy normal screen, it's just like there's a film over it.
Yeah. It was like a matte screen protector.
But
they sold them at the time. They're like, make it feel
just
like paper.
Just as good as paper.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be
Why not
exactly
just use
the same.
paper?
That was it. But so I bought that and I thought that was amazing. But I was just like, I've just sold myself a lie, really. It didn't really make much difference.
You're trying to convince yourself, no.
Yeah. That was worth 40 quid, honest. But yeah, so they sold them. And then I was using that for a couple of years before I finally started actually drawing art on it, if that makes sense. I was just drawing tattoos on it. And I know tattoos are art, but there's a big difference between drawing a tattoo and then drawing a portrait for me. Do you know what I mean? The way I go about it is completely different.
Yeah.
When I used to use like graphite and pencils and stuff, you use them in a different technique to how you do when you're putting like Sharpie lines in and painting with like, PH Martin inks and stuff like that. So when I started actually doing artwork on there, I showed one of my friends and he was like, that's cool. You should show it to this guy who I've done a t-shirt for. And I showed it to him. And then he was like, oh, that looks cool. We can maybe print that. And I didn't really know anything about printing or anything like that either. So that was another thing I had to learn. Having to learn to do stuff with the right, DPI and at the right size so that when you blow it up or shrink it, it doesn't go pixelated or compress or keeping the quality, using different color profiles so that if you're on a CYMK printer, you make sure you use it in that and vice versa. There was so much to learn.
Yeah.
And then when I finally got there through COVID, obviously we was on lockdown and I was just like, I couldn't do anything. So I started drawing. I do a lot of drawing with colored pencils. I use like Faber-Castell polychromos. They're basically similar to, I can't remember the brand now, Prismacolor. They're similar
I'm just going to say yes.
Right. Some people will know what that is. So
I'm not one of those people, unfortunately.
But the Prismacolors are quite waxy. They have like a waxy finish to them.
Yeah.
Whereas the polychromos don't have a waxy finish to them. So I use them. I do some color drawings in them. I remember specifically I had a cancellation one day and I'd just seen the Joker movie when it came out.
Okay, the Joaquin Phoenix one. Yeah.
So I'd had a cancellation and I sat at work and I dug out this black paper. Obviously, it's got to be black.
Yeah, of course.
So I dug out this black pad of paper and I drew the poster, the scene just before. I won't do any spoilers, but it's iconic.
I don't think there's
He's
any
turned
need
around.
for that now, is there? It's been out for a while.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, you never know.
He turns and looks over his shoulder.
Yes, I know.
You know a scene. And I drew that. And I remember taking it home and my missus goes, did you draw that? I was like, that was cheeky, wasn't it? And she was like, that's well good. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't think it was really that good. I drew it in like a few hours. It looked all right, but loads of people were like, mate, that looks so cool. Yeah. And I was like, sick. I'm gonna do some more of these.
I can still draw.
I can draw. Finally, after 7 years, I can draw. So then I did some more full color drawings. I did like from The Shining, and I did some in like opaque grays as well.
Yeah.
I did Bela Lugosi's Dracula, Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera, all the old classic movies that I like. So I started drawing those. I did a Michael Myers as well, and I've started doing like a Batman. But then we kind of went back to work, and it just takes over, doesn't it? It's just the amount of time.
Because you have this like huge kind of like passion towards this new thing you're doing.
Yeah.
But then as soon as normal life comes back in, it very slowly just gets put to the back of the list, doesn't
and
it?
then you just have to. You just can't.
You have one shit day, and you're like, oh, okay, I can't be arsed.
That's the hardest thing about being a tattooer, and I've said it forever, right? You can't. You know, some days you just come in and go, I just can't concentrate today.
You can't have.
Can't have that day.
Yeah.
Like we all have that day, but we all hide it really well at the back. Like we'll go, oh yeah, I'm just going out for a fag, and you go outside and go, oh, like we've all done it, right? But it's hard in that respect. And then you have to go home and you have to draw. And
you know what? Someone told me about, not sorry to interrupt, but someone mentioned this the other day, and I was just kind of like thinking, like, I hear it all the time, but obviously we're not tattooers. We work at a supply company. We work with artists. We see what they do, blah, blah, blah. For me, I have another thing outside of Star anyway, so I understand like working hard into the evening and stuff.
Yeah.
But working in a normal job, not a tattoo artist, basically, then going off to do your social stuff or whatever, it's like you guys literally are like 24/7, like always got something to draw, always got something to plan. You're always doing emails, DMs,
planning. Yeah,
it just seems like it's never ending.
So I definitely don't suffer with this as much as other people.
Yeah,
because like the ongoing joke in the shop is I'm just a photocopier. I just copy photos, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's a degree of truth to that, you know. A lot of.
Well, if someone wants a Mike Myers tattoo,
I can probably tell you what 3 pictures they're going to send me. As
yeah, of course, you know? Yeah.
So, and this is another brilliance about having an iPad for tattooing. I keep my stencils of these popular ones like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I've got about 7 different Michael Myers stenciled, right? And if someone wants a different picture, we'll find that picture. We'll do it. We'll work on that picture. Obviously, with photo realism work, you need to make sure the qualities of the photo is good.
Yeah.
Which, again, with older films is quite tricky to find sometimes. So I'll sometimes go through and just find them and keep them in like a folder ready.
Yeah.
But I'll pre-stencil them as well. So that saves me a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, for example, Frankenstein's monster, 9 times out of 10 is that on-looking photo.
The straight on one.
He's either the one where he's looking up and it's all white here, or it's the one where he's looking down and it's really dark here.
Yeah.
They're the 2 photos that most people want, or the side-on one looking at the bride of Frankenstein.
You know what? When you're saying this, I literally am like, I can see your tattoos.
You can see the pictures.
No, not the pictures. Your actual tattoos you've done.
Yeah. I've done quite a few of those. Yeah. And I get to a point where I try and find different photos, but at the same time,
it's what the
client's tattoos.
Well. Yeah,
the client wants that photo.
The thing is, if you turn around and then say, oh, 20 other people have had this, it's like, you sound like an arsehole, don't you? But it's like...
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's different with those. It's almost cool that 20 people have had it.
Yeah.
It's not like a piece of flash, you know? Like, there's a reason that the people want those photos.
It's an iconic...
Because they're iconic.
Yeah.
Or people have a connection to that film or that moment in that film. So the fact that other people have that connection as well is kind of cool. It's not like, you know, oh, someone else has had that rose that was on that flash, you know, that you picked off the wall. Yeah. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
But so that saves me a lot of time. So if I look at my diary and I'm like, oh, I'm doing Frankenstein's monster tomorrow, I know in my head I've got 5 different ones stenciled on my iPad.
Yeah.
That means I can just refer back to it. Maybe tweak the stencil slightly if we're going bigger or smaller.
Different backgrounds, maybe, if they
different
want
backgrounds,
that.
different placement, different shape.
Yeah, different
maybe.
part of the body as well, of course, yeah.
So, but that saves me a lot of time. Now, I 100% feel for every artist out there that draws custom pieces for everyone.
Inkcast is sponsored by Beyond NRG, the mental performance drink for tattoo artists, creatives, gamers, streamers, you name it.
Yeah, because then you ain't got a social life.
I used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day when I was doing more traditional, and I started venturing into more neo-traditional stuff, and then I just the neo traditional stuff I started doing became so. It was basically realism with line work.
Yeah.
Right? So I then just went fully into realism. I'd always wanted to do realism. I'd always loved portrait work. When you get people that like get a bit of a buzz out of tattooing their own designs on people.
Yeah.
I get a buzz out of doing a portrait and looking at it and going, yeah, that looks cool. Like that looks as close as I can get that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So that's what I get my buzz out of. But I fully appreciate and do not empathize completely with. Do not envy the people that have to draw. That's the word. I do empathize and I do not envy the people that have to draw every night. Yeah. Ollie does it as well.
Yeah.
It works. I'm like, he's one of my good mates as well, and he draws all the time. Like he said last weekend, he sat in a room just painting because he still does everything old school. Like I said, he draws with like pencils and pens, and he paints, and he will then put that in a frame on the wall and tattoo it.
Yeah.
And someone sees it, and he does a lot of his own design stuff, which is really cool. And same with Ben. Ben does his own stuff in his own style, and he's the same. He draws all the time. Ben came in with a new flash sheet of tigers the other day that he'd just been drawing, just to draw. And I'm just like, I just play the drums for 3 hours. Like I didn't have to draw anything because I knew what photo I was using.
Yeah, you just got that's the thing, isn't it? I suppose everyone's got their own different style and how they prep and how they plan. And it's not like the night before. I mean, like this year, I'm going to make sure I try and get into this or get into this style.
And those designs, the big pieces, like Ollie started lining out a back piece the other day. He didn't draw that in one night. He must have been drawing that all week or
going
the week
back and
before.
Forth to it constantly. Yeah.
Looking at it, these things like that don't take. Whereas most of my work is like about this size.
Yeah.
Picture of like somewhere I can find a really good quality, because I never really use Google because it's awful. Right. Everyone always jokes like you just get a picture off Google and copy it. No, Google's awful.
It's changed a bit in the last year or so.
Has it?
I just feel like some of the pictures have been a lot more kind of like they've been restricting a lot of downloading certain pictures without thumbnail.
It's all shutter stuff.
The watermarks and stuff like that are on a lot of things now. So
this is it.
At the same time, there's like so many areas of the internet that's got like good quality pictures for you to kind of go off and stuff.
I'm still a little old school with some of that, right? I've got some old books of like monsters books and stuff.
Okay, then
that have got really, really
that's
good
nice to
quality
hear,
photographs of. Like I've got a selection of Universal monsters. Like they're thin, kind of like magazines. I can't remember the company's name. That's awful. I swear it's like Famous Monsters, I think.
Yeah. And
they do loads of them, right? But they're all really, really good quality photographs inside these magazines because they're all sourced from the company, from like Universal.
Yeah.
For these like info.
So they're going to be the legit photo, not like a carbon copy or a small res kind of.
Honestly, some of these photos that they've got of like Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster, they're like 4K. And that was took in like 1931 when that film came out. And it's like, how have you even got a picture this good a quality of this? When I can't find a picture that's HD of the movie that came out on Netflix last week. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can I not find a picture of that? But there's a 4K equivalent. Like, you can just tell it's like, and you lose some saturation and stuff when people put them on Google because they're edited or the screen or might change it slightly. Right. So having these printouts, you get all of those subtle tones for realism in there, which you don't get in Google photos. Yeah. So that's why I quite like having some of those books. I don't have loads, but I've got a few that I can go to for like the classic stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's the obviously there's loads of people out there that does like movie tattoos and all sorts of realism and Stranger Things came out. Eddie Munson was fucking everywhere, wasn't he?
I had a couple of people message me about Eddie Munson.
How, in your opinion, obviously being like a horror fan and like a movie fanatic and all that kind of stuff, like how do you think that has an effect in the tattoo industry? Like, is it in the last decade? Like, how long have you been tattooing for? Sorry.
What year is it? 2022. So I started my apprenticeship when I was 20 in 2012. So I've been tattooing for around 8 years, roughly. Minus the 2 years we basically had off.
Oh yeah, so about 6 years you tattooed then.
I'm actually tattooing.
Well, like in the time since you started and where you are today, what do you think is sort of like, has movies like really heavily influenced the tattoo industry? Like not movie, series, pop culture, you know, that kind of.
I think so, yeah. Because when it always has. There's always been like, there's always been artists that have focused on that. And I don't know whether there's still is his Instagram, but I used to follow. But this was back when I was an apprentice, so this was about 10 years ago. I used to follow a guy called Goonie Tunes. I don't know if he's still
Goonie Tunes.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still his Instagram handle, but he has always done some really cool traditional film stuff. Like he was doing like flash sheets of Breaking Bad and stuff when it was out on TV and stuff like that.
I want to see that now.
Yeah, honestly, you'll find it somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's become a lot. That was almost a niche 10 years ago. Like people would be like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's based on Power Rangers or something like that."
Yeah.
And I used to do that. I drew like Power Ranger flash sheets and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle flash sheets and all like nostalgia stuff, right? But I never really did it. I like maybe one or two here or there. You know what I mean? But now I think Instagram helps as well. I think that helps, and I think social media in general, and the amount of TV shows that people now have a connection with, and it's kind of cool to be a little bit nerdy now. Like Comic-Con used to be like, if you look at old films, like even like Euro Trip, American Pie, all that, they used to all take the piss out of people that went to Comic-Con.
We had this conversation the other day, yeah.
But now everyone goes to Comic-Con.
Absolutely,
everyone can connect with something. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, all that kind of stuff, and I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's really like I used to collect all like the McFarlane movie figures when I was a kid. There was a shop where I lived, and they used to sell them all, like the Texas Chainsaw figures and all that.
Yeah. And
I used to go in and I used to get them with like pocket money and stuff, and then it kind of like died out. You know, when you grow up, you start like 18, 19, you start drinking all the time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't bothered about my leather-faced statues or anything, right? So, but there's now a second wind, and that's now you can get figures for everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
You know, one of the companies that's like really blown that up is those Pop Funk.
Yeah,
those
Funko
things.
Pops. Yeah,
Funko Pops. Yeah,
they're
like
ridiculous.
Every single series or movie, or like even music. Like there's a James Hetfield one I saw the other day. I was like, oh, okay.
I've got a Toronto Raptors. I watch a lot of basketball.
Yeah,
and I support the Toronto Raptors. I've got a Toronto Raptors pop of the like actual raptor. You know, like the mascot.
Yeah.
Like what?
Because why not?
Yeah, because why not?
Like, when does that ever end? I wonder how many they've even got in their roster.
Honestly,
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
I've got.
But it's not just like you could have a character, but in 5 different formats.
Yeah.
Different uniforms, different parts of the series.
This is it.
It's never ending.
No, it's never ending. They definitely helped as well.
Yeah.
Because they were little things that people went, oh yeah, I've got this little pop. This is cool.
And the best part about it, number 117 or so. It's like, oh. Well, not number 116 and 15 and 14 is.
Exactly. And they just keep churning them out. They change them. You know, they make them a bit different. They do these movie moments now where you can get the same character but with a scene from the film.
Yeah.
And
doing a certain pose or something.
Yeah. But just everything now you can get anywhere. Like, and I remember I was having a conversation. I can't remember who it was with now. That's bad. And
not an important person, then.
It's my memory, mate. I'm horrible with names. People come in and they're like, "Oh, you tattooed my husband, John," and I'm like, "Oh,
you're just like, yep."
What did I do on him? And they're like, "Oh, you did that," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know who he is."
Yeah. And then like I did 10 of those.
Yeah. I know. That's number 856 of the Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So so I was having a conversation. I said, well, you can get anything now. Like when I was a kid, I would absolutely, and it was in like B&M. And they just had like a Pokemon action figure, but it was like
Pokemon action
Pokemon action figure of like Charizard, right?
Yeah.
But it was all articulated. You could move the arms, the wings, everything. I was like, mate, as a kid, I'd have killed for this. I'd have been over the moon with this figure.
Yeah.
But it's not kids buying these anymore. It's like nostalgia sells now.
It's the ones that were buying it when they were kids, now adults,
Exactly.
aka you.
I spend so much money on figures,
I
and
remember-
statues, and
What was
prints.
it? I don't know what it was now. It sounds really creepy without context, but your house, your living room, and
Yeah.
all the stuff. I think it was when it was at Christmas time. You had like the black tree, and you had all this other
There's
stuff.
5
and-
trees.
Yeah, and we saw all the stuff in there. We were like, it looks like a fucking shop in his house.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Oh mate, it's all her.
There's not a
Like, in the
mantelpiece.
living room,
There's
it's
not
all
one
her
bit of
stuff.
space on the mantelpiece because
No.
it's always got something on it.
Yeah, that's all Haunted Mansion themed because we both love the Haunted Mansion in
think
Disney.
I think a candle's just gone out. I can start smelling like a little bit of burn
yeah,
or
no.
something.
It's just on fire.
It's not a fire hazard. It's fake.
Um,
But yeah, like you've honestly got how much? You've probably got a lot of like money in that living room, considering some of them are collectibles, right?
yeah, but it's. I always say this. It's like, it is, but it's only value to you, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
there's stuff that like, you know, I've got loads of Predator stuff, right?
Mm.
And I've got an original cutout from a music magazine that's advertising it on show in Leicester Square Theatre
Oh,
on
wow.
January the 8th of 1988, I believe.
Yeah.
It might be 87. Not sure. I'm not sure what the date is.
But
on
you've
the-
got
on
that
the
like
thing.
framed or
But
something.
I've got it
like-
framed. But I only bought it because my birthday is January the 8th.
Oh, amazing.
So I was like, what? It's like, that's when it came out.
Yeah.
January the 8th in Leicester Square. Predator. And it's just an original, just print out like that.
Mm.
I paid like £6 for it.
But yeah,
It's worth it to me.
yeah,
do you
to
know what
you
I mean?
that's worth £600, not
That's
£6.
it. There's no financial value to that item. And there's other stuff I've got, like, don't get me wrong, there's stuff that I've got that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I don't care about that.
Mm.
I've got so much Predator stuff that's just stuff you just can't get hold of anymore. Like I've got hot toys, I've got like expensive figures and statues and stuff.
Mm.
But I've got like a little Predator cup topper from Japan that's just got a Predator on it that was in the cinema when like AVP come out,
Yeah.
like in 2003. So it's like, well, that's like nearly 20 years old, that cup topper.
Mm.
And I think I paid £4 off of eBay for it. Just
Yeah.
because someone's like getting rid of trash out their house.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I'll buy that. But
But it goes with your collection. It's something you like, and
This is
someone
it.
wants to get rid of it. It's like, that's perfect for me. I
to
like
me,
it.
that's like priceless. You'll never find, and I've never found one of them again.
Yeah, that's
like,
when you know
never.
you've got you something that you're like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
very happy with it.
but will that be worth 100 grand in 6 years, 10 years, 20 years? Probably not. No, it's a cup topper.
But to you, it would still mean a lot.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And I was just like, I just remember picking up that little gem. But
Mm.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's all hers in the living room. It's all like all. Her
Yeah, I have
stuff.
to give a shout out to your other half,
Pure
Pure Horror. Amazing page.
Yeah, she's been
Obviously, she does more than an Instagram page,
but she's been
like,
collecting since she was 16. And this is one
so
thing.
there's a lot
right?
of years of collecting under there. then.
This is one thing that really, like, we get asked a lot, and I get asked a lot, and it's like, how do you afford all these collectibles? Well, it's not about affording all the collectibles. Back in the day, when I used to buy those figures, when I was saying about the figures earlier, the McFarlane ones, and
Yeah.
they were like 20 quid. Now that figure would be about 50, 60 quid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everything's relative. So it's like a lot of the stuff that she's got, she's been getting since she was younger. And collections don't just get that big like overnight.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
it's,
yeah.
it's like
yeah.
it's ridiculous to even think you can just. You'd have to go out with like an unlimited credit card and find it all. Do you know what I mean?
Finding it all would be
This
harder
is
than
it,
the
yeah.
purchasing all of it.
So, and it's one of those. She's been getting it for years, and she just like accumulated it, and she displayed it all nice, and yeah. But she's she goes when she finds a space, she fills it with something new. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem. That's why it's like, she's like, oh, I've got a nice big house. Look, I'll get some more collectibles. And
Yeah.
now there's no space.
Well, we don't want
again.
that cupboard anymore.
Yeah.
Space.
That's pretty much what that's what it's turned out to be now. Like our dining room's just a collection room now.
Yeah.
It's just that's it. It's that
Well, when
we
you
don't have
did
a dining table anymore.
oh, like when you posted the pictures up of like the living room with the Christmas tree on and everything like that, it was just like,
yeah, she loves Christmas as
That
well.
was good.
We've 5 trees. We've got a 6th tree now this year.
really
We've got a purple one that's gonna be like all Haunted Mansion on it because
perfect.
the colours are all black and purple.
Black,
So
yeah, yeah.
we got the main Christmas tree. Then we've got the white feather tree that's got
What's
all
the main Christmas tree? Is it green?
The main one's green, yeah. The
Okay.
main one's normal, but it's covered in so many like Nightmare Before Christmas and Disney decorations.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
even see the green anymore.
So there's the normal main green
normal
one,
main one.
fluffy white one,
Fluffy white one with
purple
skulls
one.
and bats on.
Yep.
The purple one with the Haunted Mansion
I
on.
imagine a black one
There's
somewhere.
a black tree
Yep.
with all the Trick or Treat Studios and all the kind of horror decorations.
Yeah, and then number 5.
Then we have a little tree that's got like little Nightmare Before Christmas decorations on. That was like a NECA collectible.
For the cute factor.
For like the kitchen table.
The kitchen table.
Yeah, just
tree.
like a small tree.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we've got 2 pop-up trees that go either side, but they don't have decorations on. They're just like them concertina trees
Yeah.
that are like ghosty kind of, that holographic bluey white.
Right.
colour.
Okay.
They go either side near the of the fireplace.
Yeah. Now
That's all the trees.
Now the big question is though, Gareth or Gaz, when it comes
We got 2. We got 2 gold trees that go out the front door as well. either
golden
side.
trees as well.
Gold trees with black tinsel.
Okay. Well, big question here then.
Yeah.
Where do the presents go at Christmas Eve?
Under the big tree.
Under the big tree.
Under the
Do
main
the other
tree.
trees get jealous though?
We do put a couple of little ones under
Just
the
to
horror
keep
tree.
them involved.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
so they don't feel left out.
You have like Halloween, like horror wrapping paper, or do you go generic with that? Surely it's got to go.
Usually
with the
I
theme.
get Jurassic World or Jurassic Park because that's like my favourite film as well as Predator. Like Jurassic Park's my second thing I go mad for collectibles.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, have you seen like obviously I presume you've seen all the newest Jurassic
Oh, yeah.
Worlds and
Jurassic World Dominion's rubbish.
okay. Because that's what I was going to ask you the opinion of. Because like for me, the Jurassic trilogy, really 1 and 2, 3 after as well,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
The others, I like them, but I'm not like fuck. I want to watch
Yeah,
that again,
not
or
huge
you know.
on. Fallen Kingdom, I think gets a lot of hate, but it was
What order is it again? So
Jurassic World, then Fallen Kingdom, then Dominion.
Dominion. Yeah. Okay.
Dominion though was just naff. It just couldn't make up its mind. It was like 6 different stories. I feel like it should have like split into 2 films, like they did with Harry Potter.
So they kind of
Last one.
pushed it all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just kind of didn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
And then it was like it's a film about dinosaurs, but there's only like snippets of dinosaurs in it. It's not even that
Yeah.
long.
I bet the main thing really though that got everyone talking was just the fact that they brought back Alan Grant
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that was it. But that was just it was. You ever seen that South Park episode about the member berries?
about the what?
Member berries.
I'm
So
not
there's
too
a,
sure
there's a
now.
South Park episode. You'll have to watch it, right? But basically,
You know what it is? Yeah, he's nodding his head.
he's nodding his head. Luke's nodding his head in the back. So basically, they eat these berries that like they're alive, and they're like, oh, remember this? Remember Boba Fett from Star Wars? And like
Yeah.
this, right? It was a joke that come out around. I think it was when The Force Awakens come out.
Hmm.
So because everyone said Force Awakens was just a New Hope. Again,
Yeah.
right? And it just riding on that. Oh, remember this character? Oh, do you remember that? Do you
Yeah.
remember that? And that is now how I feel like a lot of films go. Even the new Halloween I watched the other day. Halloween.
I was going to
Ends.
get onto this subject
Yeah.
actually.
Now
I personally haven't seen it, but I mean,
I won't spoil anything,
okay,
but that is a lot of member berries.
right, okay,
There's a lot of things in it. There's some cool cinematography that captures stuff from the original.
Mm.
There and there was a couple of bits where it was like, oh, that's cool. But the film itself kind of goes off on its own thing.
yeah,
So it's a good film, but I don't think it's a good film as a Halloween film.
it's trying to go off
Yeah.
the strength of the other ones, not its own sort of like.
Yeah, it ties in and it does end. Like it's good. That ending's all right. Like, but the film itself, it just kind of goes off in its own direction. The last 2 were in like kind of grounded in their. They have their follow on. I don't want to give too much away because you've not seen it.
Yeah.
People won't have seen it. So, but it's good. It's worth a watch. But as a Halloween film, I don't think it really hit the mark for me.
Mm.
I've seen people losing their mind and saying it's the best one. So maybe I need to rewatch it.
Yeah,
Give it another-
I suppose
give it
it's
another
weird
look.
when you watch a movie at the cinema though, because you're very enthralled by shit.
Oh.
Like it's very bassy. It's also like an experience with your buddies and everyone's all there. Like it's a big thing. But then when you're watching the movie at home or something, it may not hit as hard. Maybe.
Yeah. See, and I've had it the other way. I've had it where with Halloween Kills, this the one that come out last. Was it last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year. We watched that in the cinema, and it was better than when I watched it at home.
Right.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just the atmosphere.
Mm.
But yeah, I kind of felt like that was better in the cinema.
Yeah.
But there's so many good horror movies and stuff like that just go on to like Amazon Prime or
Yeah.
Netflix and that now
Yeah.
as well. Even the new Halloween is streaming on a Peacock in America.
Already.
Yeah, well, it went straight to Peacock.
Oh,
and
so it was
theatres.
like the Disney style of things. They
Yeah.
just straight onto a stream site. And,
Yeah, but I think that all started during COVID, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a massive. That was huge.
Yeah, because
Cinemas closed. New movie. Where's it going to go?
they went straight to stream.
Yeah.
But then they realised that so many people that maybe don't want to go to the cinema will pay for a streaming service if they can watch it.
Yeah, like rent this movie for $3.50 now, and it's like, yeah, I can't be asked to go to cinema. Just rent it.
And
we can keep it for 3 days and watch it again, which you never do.
Well, you never do, but that is cool though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
You get to like rewind it or pause it if you need to nip out.
Yeah.
Like to the loo or anything. You can't do that in the cinema, can you? So,
no, you have to find out what are the shit scenes in the movie that you can.
Yeah,
skip.
literally everyone comes back. What did I miss?
Yeah. What happened? So basically, and then suddenly something happens. Like
you missed a bit.
Like, what?
But yeah, the new Halloween's all right. It's all right. That's what I'll say. It's all right. So I think as well. I was expecting a bit more from it, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's the final one in the trilogy of the new trilogy. So I was kind of like, this will be.
This is what usually happens. Is like when movies come out, it's like it's the last one. It's the final one. It's like,
yeah.
Is it really?
But it did end. A part of me thought, right, I was like, if they just do like some sequel baiting in this, you can't call it Halloween Ends and not end it. Do you know what I mean? So they did do that. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Inkcast is sponsored by Beyond NRG, the mental performance drink for tattoo artists, creatives, gamers, streamers, you name it.
Pray for the devil.
Pray for the devil?
Yeah, pray for the devil, but pray with an E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pray for the devil.
Is that meant to be like the one that's meant, the...
I thought it was like
the one that just came out or something. You know that stream movie, the one that's on Amazon Prime or something, it's called Pray.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Unless I'm really...
You might be connecting some dots here that don't need connecting.
It's that what you know what it is, don't you? It's like the Japanese movie or something, or
oh no, I don't think it's connected to that. This looked like
you know which one I'm on about though.
Yeah, I know what you're on about now. Yeah, this looked like The Nun. Like it was all based in like Catholic. I can't remember. There's like an actor in it that I recognised, and I can't remember who he is now. It's gonna annoy me. I'm gonna remember this on the drive home.
See, when Luke does a post edit of this, there'll be a nice picture just.
Of him, yeah.
Flashing up here.
Yeah, he's quite a famous actor as well. That's going to annoy me now. Anyway, yeah, that film looked really good. That looked kind of cool.
Do you, not to like swing the conversation a bit back to what we were saying, but like in terms of the movies and stuff like that, do you think that it's hard for directors and creatives to make good horror movies now, considering what's already come out, and that's why there's so many reboots of all these classics?
I think it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And I'll use this as a explanation because so many people now there's so much you can watch on so many different things, right? That there's always something that someone's going to like and someone doesn't.
Yeah.
Like and art, like we said earlier before the stream, art is like subjective.
Yeah.
So are films. People can write films like controversial opinion here.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Midsummer. You seen it?
Yeah, not all of it, obviously.
Not all of it. Have you seen it? No? I think it's the worst film I've ever seen. And every single person I've said that to has been like, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And I've got so much shit because I hate it. I've watched it 3 times just to try and be like, what did I miss? Everyone says this is amazing. I must have missed something.
Yeah.
3 times. Every time I watched it, it got shitter. And I can't stand it, right? But then there's people out there like, that's one of the best horror films I've ever seen. That's my point. So you're never going to be able to please everyone. I don't think you should try to please everyone.
Yeah,
because when you try and please everyone, you ultimately please no one.
You lose focus on what you're trying to do yourself then, really, don't you?
And I think it's the same with music as well nowadays. Like the new Slipknot album come out the other day.
This could be a whole podcast on its own. Me and Luke love our metal, and Slippy, we've been to see them. Yeah. I love them. Saw them at Download, fucking amazing. I love most of their stuff. I've only ever seen them
once at Download.
But the new album that came out, it was like,
yeah, that's how
like it was. I just felt like it didn't hit as hard as the other stuff. Like the Grey chapter was great.
We Are Not Your Kind is one of my favourite ones.
Yeah, that's even like
of the Jay era. I love Jay. Jay's one of my favourite drummers, and so is Joey. That's what I've literally had tattooed on my leg.
Yeah.
The other day by Amy Edwards. So I think the same thing. Right, and Alex at the shop, he hasn't liked anything they've released since Joey left. Right, And he's a big
But is that
Slipknot fan.
because he's a fan of Joey?
No, he's just a fan of older Slipknot. But
Right,
I said
okay.
this to him, and this is relative to the film thing, what we were just saying then. So the problem is with Slipknot, especially Slipknot, I don't feel like they can ever win. Like, if they write something that's different, it's shit because
The
it's not
fans-
old Slipknot.
Yeah.
But if they write something old,
It's not new.
it's just old Slipknot again.
Yeah, yeah.
They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where they can't progress.
Yeah.
And even he said in an interview something about, like, you can't just write the same album over and over and over and over and over.
Some bands do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's it. But like, so, and I think that's the same with films.
Mm.
A lot of things like, and I know, even when I watched Halloween Ends the other day, I was doing that. I was going, well, that's not really like Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They've tried something different and you don't like it because
Exactly.
it's not Mike Myers.
And I knew I was sat in that boat. I
Yeah.
was there, and I was like, yeah, well, all right. And then I was going, all right, we'll give it a chance. You can't make the same album twice.
Yeah, of course.
You
Yeah.
know, well, maybe twice, but not 3 times,
Mm.
4, and so on and so forth. But it was like,
Well, I mean, it happened with Bring Me the Horizon, didn't it?
yeah, well,
You're a
they're-
massive
They're
fan
not
of
even
them,
the
like-
same band anymore, are they?
It's like, they started off with this, that, and the other. Then they broke out and did like a bit of a, I want to say the word poppy because that's the only word I can say to sort of explain it. But like they
More
did something a bit
commercial.
more generic and mass audience.
Yeah.
And then loads of people were like, oh, then they came out and then they did some absolutely killer songs. And the audience that jumped on the band with the poppy stuff was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
It's like you can never please it. But they said it the perfect way. I think it was Ollie Sykes or, they said, we're going to, like, I'm paraphrasing it, but like we're making music that we want to make and explore and everything, as well as giving the audience something fresh.
Yeah.
Like if you can't allow us as a band to be creative, then what's the point?
What's the point? Exactly.
Which I completely get. But then on the flip side, I also get it when you suddenly have a band that you really love and you love their sound, their
And
style.
now you're like, what is this?
And then you listen to the album, you're like, oh, I can't wait for this. The new single was great, but that new single was the only one that you're going to like. And everything else, you're just like, fuck, what is this?
I think that was the mistake that Slipknot just done. The 3 songs they released from the album were probably the strongest songs on the album.
Yeah. Was it Chapeltown Rag was one of them?
Dying Song and Yen.
Yen as well,
I
yeah.
love Yen.
Mm.
I think that's
That's
a great
me.
song.
When we listened to it, it was just like in the background while I was working, and a lot of them were like, yeah, it's
They're good
Slipknot.
songs, yeah.
But it wasn't like, shit, play that again and turn it up.
It wasn't like Iowa, was it?
Oh, God. I'll be honest, when I start like doing some workouts at the gym or something and I want some proper motivating music, it'll be Sulphur,
Yeah.
Pulse of the Maggots, People Equal Shit, really old stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's exactly what I love Slipknot for.
It was mad though, wasn't it? It was
That
chaotic.
aggressive, dirty,
Yeah,
clunky metal.
mate. Spot on. But again, like I say, the new album's cool. Just like the new Halloween's cool in its own right. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I've seen people that are like, oh, it's amazing. And I can see it. It definitely feels like it's for a younger audience
Yeah.
as well. And I think that's the problem with horror now. One thing I will say that I absolutely hate about horror now is so much of it is done with CGI. So much of it. And it's very much a case of you're not even used a good CGI. You know what I mean? If you're going to use it, fine. But there's things you can't make physically. I understand that. I'm not saying like that dragon should be a real dragon. Like, do you know what I mean? But
why isn't his actual head coming off?
yeah, exactly. But there's things you can't do. But you've only got to take a look back to maybe the 80s and 90s, not even a long amount of time ago, and look at like Evil Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I know some of them look a bit dated now, but they're still practical effects, still special effects. Some of like the best special effects artists, like even like Greg Nicotero, who did The Walking Dead, and like you had Tom Savini, who did like Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
And there's an art in that I feel is lost in CGI.
Yeah, I think I think the audience sees it as well, don't they?
Yeah, and this is it, and it's just like you can tell so many times that like, oh god, that's just CGI hell in it. Especially when it's like all, what's the word? Like ghost films, and The Nun and The Conjuring, all these kind of films along those sort of lines they're all CGI.
Yeah.
They've all got CGI as a massive part to them. And I get that they kind of need it to have that ghostly feeling in there, but you can do stuff as well, like without needing that. You can make tension, like I presume people have seen that Dahmer TV series that was on Netflix.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, the monster
yeah.
series
Yeah.
with Evan Peters, right? Some of them episodes were tense. Nothing happened really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was
I know
tense.
exactly where you're going with it. Yeah,
Right.
that's like, do you need all
That
of
was
that
two
kind
people in a room.
of? Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
it's all about the story and the characters and what's about to happen or what.
and
may
I know
not
that was
happen
obviously
or-
real and awful, but
But I see your point.
You
though,
see my
yeah.
point. That wasn't real and awful. That was two actors being filmed in a room.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need CGI to sell everything.
On this subject, I've got to give credit to I can't remember his name now. The one that played Vecna in Stranger Things,
Oh yeah,
putting
I
on all
can't-
that
I
shit
can't
for like
remember
7
his name.
hours every day.
But that's cool. That's why I like that Stranger Things. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have CGI in it. Yeah, they have backdrops.
But at least the main focal
the
point-
makeup is still real, and
Yeah.
you get a lot of makeup like that. But there's there's a lot of stuff like when you look at like American Werewolf in London,
Mm,
the transformation of him into the werewolf in that film
yeah.
was insane. Rick Baker doing all that was just incredible.
Mm,
And that's lost nowadays with the CGI.
yeah.
A lot of like lower budget films and like they do it. Like I don't know if you've seen Terrifier and Terrifier 2.
Not unfortunately, no.
They're mad films. You need to watch those. They are brutal, right? But it's like I'll say all. I might be wrong. Might be mostly practical effects. But Damien Leone is the director of it, and I think Terrifier 2 is just like earned like millions at the box office, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it was the first one was such a low budget film. It's gone like mad, but yeah, there's like such graphic violence with practical effects in it. It's amazing just to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people, it says, I swear I've read somewhere where the Terrifier 2 screening, like in the theater, people were like fainting and being sick and stuff. Like
God.
I don't know how true that is, but that's cool anyway. Just to, like,
yeah.
where was that? Remember when like The Exorcist come out and people were like fainting and throwing up in the cinema because of how rough it was and
Going
how
to the nearest church
it was
and
evil.
splashing
They
themselves
could-
with
yeah.
holy water.
bring back those horror films.
Yeah.
But you can't make that nowadays because we're all like washed out by it now.
Well, everyone
We're all
knows too much.
desensitized,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, everyone knows too much. There's
Like-
too much easy, like, Google something really quick of how do they do that? Oh, there you go.
I even remember when the first Saw come out, and there was a billboard in Peterborough where I was living at the time, and was it? No, that wasn't for the first one. Regardless, that came out, and everyone was like, "This is the most brutal film that's ever been shown in the cinema.
Mm.
It'll make you sick. It's disgusting."
Yeah.
And it was all these things, and it was like when you actually look at it, like all the jigsaw bits, with the traps and all that.
Yeah.
There's only in it for about 10 minutes of the film.
Mm.
The rest of it is mainly two people chained up in a bathroom. There's not really that
Yeah.
much gore,
Yeah.
which is where I feel like the other Saw films lost their way a bit
Well, it's
because it started just being about those graphic, violent traps.
yeah, but that's the thing where you mentioned earlier. Like when you've got like this particular scene, two people, you've in 15, 20 minutes and nothing's really happened, but you feel very
Yeah.
involved with this scene. And then as soon as something, you're
That-
like, oh, what fucking god, what's he? Like if you just straight away, someone's doing this, it's like, oh, fuck, that's graphic.
Yeah.
But then you
You
carry
get
on.
desensitized.
It's very quick to just accept and move on.
Yeah.
But whereas something builds up and builds up
That
and
first
then
Saw
something
film
happens. Yeah.
was so good because of that. It was just I still
Do you think
still
they
now,
ruined the franchise a little bit by
Yeah,
doing
oh,
so
yeah.
many?
Yeah. Not necessarily doing so many, but they went down the wrong avenue.
Yeah.
They started doing all the traps were the main focus. Everyone needed to be like, oh, how can we like make some trap now that's going to snap someone in half 30 times?
Yeah.
But it wasn't what the first one was about. The first one was about like, when you think of it as well, the traps themselves were so bare bones in the first one.
Yeah.
Minus
yeah.
that bear trap thing,
Yeah.
right? But that's still not out of the realm of possibility.
Mm.
Like that guy just had to crawl through razor wire, right? That's not a trap, is it? That's just crawl through razor wire.
Yeah, it's just a bit brutal.
Find the
isn't
code for the walls with a candle, but the whole room's covered in paraffin petrol.
it? Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't get too close to it because you'll go up in flames.
Yeah.
Like they were raw.
Pretty simple ideas, but
Yeah.
they had good kind
They
of
weren't
like.
tied to a metal cross that was going to turn your limbs all different ways. Like
Yeah, I started watching one the other day, and the first scene, well, maybe not the first scene, but like it's when they're like 4 or 5. I think it's Saw 4 or 5. They're all chained up like here,
Oh, and the collar.
and then it's like all the little in the wall,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay,
Who made that?
Getting straight into this now, anyway. But then it's like oh, cut yourself, and then it releases, and you're like, oh, here we go, and then suddenly the door opens, and now there's another thing you got to do.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, we're straight into this now.
It just got a bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
like that was in the original one. It was like that one thing for one person, like her. Yeah, she got that thing off, and she lived. She didn't have to go through like a whole mouse trap of different
Stage
rooms.
one complete.
Stage 1, 2, 3. And that's what I mean. They ruined that because that first one was genuinely like a really good mystery thriller horror, and the kind of it felt really like I still like say to the way they filmed the trap parts. It was all like sped up and really like psychotic. It was like old new metal music videos.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like there was a bit like the guy in the razor wire always reminded me of like the Vermilion like music video.
Yeah.
Where she's like moving really janky all the way through the video.
Yeah.
It was filmed like that. It was cool. It was artistic. It wasn't just like, look, we're going to twist someone's arm off. Like, and again, that's how a lot of it's come nowadays. A lot of horror is like, we're going to scare you by making a loud bang, cheap jump scares, and gore, which okay, it makes a horror film, but it makes its own type of horror film.
Yeah,
like it's like the old like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's hardly any gore in that. Like,
but it's that presence.
It's the presence.
That person.
It's that feeling it gives you.
The fear as well. Yeah. Like shit, he's about to go down again now.
It's that. That's what I like about horror films. That feeling.
Yeah.
And I always say like I wish I was scared of horror films. Even the other day when we went to see Halloween Ends, there was people screaming in the back.
And you were just there like...
And I didn't even move. I was just like, oh. I miss the days when I was a kid and it used to scare me.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it. That's part of it, isn't it? It's like everyone's entitled to one good scare.
We've had this conversation a lot and you agree with me about this Sinister movie.
Yeah. Sinister's a good film.
I like it as well. When we watched it in the cinema, whenever it came out, but like one of the parts that gets me the most is when there's that moment of, you know, we said it earlier, like the music's very eerie and kind of like weird and that, and then suddenly something happens and it's like the lawnmower going over the face of that person, like it's like fucking hell. It's the noise that makes me jump more than the actual thing.
But this is it. But I think the scariest part of that film is that point where Ethan realizes this is a real film.
Yeah.
You know, he's watching that first snuff film and he's like, you can see it in his face. You can see that, shit, this is real.
Is it the first bit is when he's watching and then
so it's the
kid starts
hanging from the tree.
And then the girl starts...
Yeah, that's it, family barbecue.
And then the girl starts swinging off the leg whilst it's like, oh, fuck me, that is bad.
Nothing really happens there, though. But that's tense.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the realisation where he's thinking, okay, this really did happen. And like you almost feel as scared as he would.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm with you, buddy. And it's in the house he's currently just living in, and it's like, oh, I'm fucked.
That's it. That's what I miss about horror films.
What was the name of the actual? Was it? What was it called? What's the actual like?
I swear it's like.
Is it
like
Boog or something?
Boog or something? Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Boog.
I can never really remember that. It's more like just the scenes that he watches on the film and stuff.
Yeah, on Google.
Google it up. But yeah, Sinister. I watched that in the cinema, and that was like one of my favourite like jump movies in the cinema and stuff.
I think the first Conjuring's good.
Bagul.
Boog. What's Boog from?
Mr. Boogie.
Mr. Boogie. Boogeyman.
Is that his nickname or something?
Yeah, Mr. Boogie is what the kids
call him.
Boogie.
That's where that come from.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Mr. Boogie. Or is that? I thought that was like, I don't know. The first Conjuring's really good as well. Again, they kind of lost their way a bit with the whole Annabelle thing, but that first Conjuring movie I think is great. But this is the issue, isn't it? It's like everything gets recycled. The first Halloween in 1978 was phenomenal. Halloween 2 was all right. Not my favourite, but it was all right. But then you get like Halloween 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and then the Halloween Rob Zombie remakes. And the first one was great. The second one wasn't.
I mean, I had that same problem with like a lot of people probably agree with me because it's a bit of a meme at the moment, but it's the Fast and Furious franchise for me. That style of
you can't say anything about the Fast and Furious franchise. Jordan, my boss, absolutely loves them. And he knows exactly what hill he's going to die on.
I think
he loves
the thing
those
is
films.
with these films, like
I bought
get
him the
it.
Lego set. You see, there's like a little Lego set with a
Fucking
little
hell.
Dom in the charger.
I think Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, love the whole franchise.
Yeah, the first three I really liked.
But
even
you
the
will
Tokyo
never
Drift.
get me excited for any Fast and Furious movie from after the fourth, fifth one, because it's like, it's the last job, then the next movie, it's the final thing, the next movie, we got to get revenge, it's the last thing. It's like, fucking hell, when's it going to end?
How many times you
And they
kick a
just
dead
get
horse?
crazier, don't they? Like dropping the fucking cars out of that like plane and then like parachuting and then landing them perfect on the road.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what
I know,
are they doing?
I know what you mean, but
But the worst thing is, they're so good.
But you know what you're signing up for.
Oh no,
That's
it's
like me
annoying.
It's like me with the B-rate horror movies. I've watched so many like horror movies on like Amazon Prime or various little ones you can just find lingering. Shudder. Shudder's a great place to find these small like low budget horror movies, and some of them are just they're shit, but they're so good at the same time, right? Because you can tell they're made with passion. Right? I remember
Low budget and passion is like that kind of movie, isn't it?
But like you always end up, I find, with like a line of comedy as well, comedy horror.
Because they know it's a budget movie.
Yeah. Now, when I last guested at Blackheart, when I go there, I stay at my mate Seb, who works at Blackheart, Sebastian. We watched a film called House Shark.
What?
House Shark.
House Shark.
House Shark.
Okay.
It's awful. Like, it's so bad, but we watched all of it because it was hilarious. Right?
Yeah.
It was just these, but I can't even describe it. You just need to go and watch House Shark. It was on Amazon Prime. It's terrible.
Okay.
It is terrible. I'm not going to try and sell you anything.
I have a shit movie I want to sell you though as well.
Yeah, go on.
I've repeated it from the last podcast we did with the others, but Larmageddon.
Larmageddon.
And you've not seen it?
I've not seen Larmageddon.
Please watch Larmageddon.
I'll watch Larmageddon if you watch House Shark.
It's a shit 90-minute, like 80-minute movie, and it's obviously low budget, and they know it's low budget. There's a guy in the movie that changes shirt every single scene, and it's not even like no one's ever said you change shirt, Dave. Like every scene is in something different, and this llama is from space. He's came down and he's got lasers shooting from his eyes. It's amazing.
I'm in.
It's brilliant.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
We'll swap movies.
Honestly,
and we'll
that
come
House
back.
Shark. There's a guy who's doing the worst imitation of Quint from Jaws. It's hilarious. He's the director. I think he's the director,
Oh,
and
God.
he's in it.
He's not like a Tommy Wiseau, is he? Producer, scriptwriter, director, main actor.
He makes Tommy Wiseau look like Brad Pitt for acting.
Fuck, you know. Definitely gonna
Mate,
watch
honestly, literally, it starts as like a shark that comes out the toilet and eats a babysitter arsehole first. That's literally the premise of the film. Right? It's ridiculous.
You don't need to sell it.
It doesn't
anymore.
make any sense. You just got to watch that, and I'm going to watch Larmageddon.
Does it require any sort of intoxicant to watch it properly, or can you?
I mean,
be
we
sober?
weren't intoxicated when we watched it, and we thought it was hilarious. I presume the more you get, you might get a bit bored though. Like it's quite slow in places.
Okay, all right then.
But
that's where the whiskey will come in then.
Yeah, that's where the whiskey. Yeah,
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but that's it. It's a shark that lives in a house. There you go. Doesn't even need water.
So that's your next tattoo on the flash
Shark,
sheet then.
yeah, that's it. House Shark.
House Shark. Put it, please, make one and put it in that.
Put it in the thing.
Yeah, the little spinner thing.
Put it in the get what you get machine. A little House Shark. Honestly, it's so bad. But at the same time, you can tell they made it with like $20 in their pocket. You know,
and they used all 20 of those dollars.
They used 21 because they borrowed $1 off a tramp. Like I'm telling you, like but you know, it's a rubbish film. But you can tell they made it because they wanted to make it, not because the studio went, that made loads of money, go and make another 6 of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the problem.
That's fair enough.
It's cool, and I like the fact that like stuff gets remade, mainly for the fact that even if the remake isn't good, like you must have watched the 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
With Alia.
Not recently, obviously, but
no, but you've seen it.
Yeah.
That's a mega remake. That's well good. I think
threw some budget at that.
Yeah, that was. I swear it was Michael Bay that did it. It was part of it. Anyway, it's
It makes sense if it was.
I genuinely think it is. Luke. On the Google. I swear Michael Bay was involved with it somehow. That's a phenomenal remake. That's how it should be done. It's changed enough, but it keeps the story pretty much the same. Changes it in aspects and makes it a bit more for a modern audience. But that also makes people go, oh, it's a remake. I'll go watch the original.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes
What's the
remakes...
original like? It's like when you hear a cover song. Who did the original?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you go back and look at it. And sometimes people go, oh, the original shit. And sometimes people go, oh, I love that. That's raw.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, same with like the Dawn of the Dead. They remade that, didn't they? They remade Night of the Living Dead. There's been more remakes than you can throw. Like, everything's been remade.
Absolutely. And if it hasn't, it will be. Go on.
Yeah. 03 Texas Chainsaw was produced by Michael Bay.
There you go.
Produced by Michael Bay.
Produced
Who's
by
the
Michael
Who's
Bay.
the director?
Marcus Nispel.
Oh, Marcus. I don't know.
But I knew Michael Bay was involved with it somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I like remakes for that alone. Even if the remake isn't good, I tell you the best remake I've seen recently. It's not really a remake, but it is Candyman.
Oh,
you see
really?
the new
No,
Candyman?
I haven't. No.
That's really good, and that's like kind of just the opinions split down the middle for that, because I've seen people say it's trash. I've seen people say it's amazing. I don't think it's amazing, but they do a lot of stuff with it that's new, keeps the story the same, and it does tie in to the original.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really, I really dig that new Candyman. It's not new now. I think it came out in 2019, but
Newest.
The newest Candyman.
Yeah,
rendition,
not the old one.
But that's cool. That's again, it's not really a remake. It's kind of a rehash. Like a lot of requels they're calling them. I think that's requel. So the Halloween 2018 is technically Halloween 2 because it follows on from 1978. That like
I see what you mean.
40
So it's
years
the
later.
remastered prequel, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like with the Scream 5 as well, that was like that's based in the same universe, but a long time after.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's kind of a rehash, but it's
like
not.
Scream 4. I watched that the other day, and I was just like,
I think Scream 4 is really good.
I like it. I don't know. I just feel like
You'll never beat that original.
Exactly.
Film.
I think that's probably the overlining reason.
Do you know
why
a funny
really.
story? I saw Scary Movie before I saw Scream.
Really?
Yeah. When I was like,
that must have been
maybe
weird.
when I was
then.
like 10, I stayed at my mate's house, George, and we just watched it on TV one night.
What was it
Scary
like
Movie.
when you actually watched the Scream movie after that, though?
It kind of ruined it for me because
You just laughing.
because I could just think of Scary Movie, like when he's just like pissed and like
on the phone
shouting,
behind the sofa,
down the phone and
just
that.
like I'm gonna cut your fucking throat or something like that, and then he's just like, I can see your feet.
Wait,
turn around,
and then he
turn around.
hides under, yeah.
He's looking around
Mate,
for something.
I met Dave Sheridan at the last For the Love of Horror last year.
I remember, yeah.
Mate, and he was dressed
So
as
you-
Doofy. It was so good, man. So good. And I'd done like a Scary Movie poster. And I took it and he was like, oh, where'd you get this? I was like, I drew it. And he was like, mate, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And that's like a highlight for me. Like having him be like, this poster's really
You
cool.
got anything
that
to
I drew
bring
it.
to Corey Taylor
I've got
this
the
weekend?
artwork that I've done. So I've obviously drawn his banner, but I've got a print out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like get the banner. I could have got the banner signed and kept the banner, but I was like, that's a roller banner. Where am I going to keep that?
It's quite big, isn't
Yeah,
it? So
huge.
you want to make sure you can frame this thing and
Yeah, I got like an 18x24 print of the artwork I've done, and then I've got my Iowa vinyl and my self-titled vinyl.
nice.
As well. So I'm going to get both those vinyls signed and put them in vinyl frames.
That's nice. That is.
And I think I'm going to get. I've got some Corey Taylor pops as well. I'll probably get them signed as well, just because I can.
Yeah, why not?
But David Arquette's there as well, which is cool. Dewey from Scream,
Yeah.
the original. So I'm gonna get my Scream poster signed by him. I've got that signed by everyone, pretty much, minus Courtney Cox. So I've got it signed by Neve Campbell, Jamie Kennedy, Roger Jackson's there as well.
I mean, the main one's Neve, isn't it? Really, she's the main actress. So.
Yeah, and I think as well. I forgot who else have I got it signed by. Well, Roger Jackson, I'm getting it signed by this weekend. He does a voice of Ghostface. So
that'll be
the
good.
voice
That's a
on the
good one.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask him, did he get any royalties for the fucking voiceover they do on TikTok?
Mate, I bet he did.
If he did, that's amazing because everyone used that for a certain time. I don't know why it's not out yet. I thought that would have been brought out as at the.
I thought, it was out. It was out a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Before.
but it was on for a while, and then it suddenly TikTok didn't have that option anymore. I don't know, it's because maybe
maybe he didn't get any royalties, and that's why. Maybe they had to take it off.
Maybe.
But yeah, so I've got quite a bit signed. This weekend's going to be mad busy though.
Yeah, we got Halloween Bash this weekend as well.
Yeah,
so that's going to be. It's really annoying because it's always on the same weekend as Love of Horror.
Yeah. And I was meant to work Halloween Bash one time.
Yeah,
I was like gonna book it and everything, and with some people from the shop I was in at the time, and it was just that. It was just like, oh no, I'm going for Love of Horror instead.
Yeah.
So
well, I hope you enjoy it
I went
anyway.
and met the Lost Boys at that one.
Oh really?
So, yeah, they had Kiefer Sutherland there and everything.
Oh,
Like, that was cool.
but yeah, for Love of Horror, that'd be sick to go to. But at the same time, Halloween Bash, it's the first year we're doing it, so that's going to be really fun.
The thing is, as well, is like you got to do tattoo, and you got to do the tattoo side.
Exactly.
Of things,
Plus, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be like they've
Halloween
got a
Bash
party
is
on the
always
Saturday night and everything, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm going for the Love of Horror. Corey Taylor's playing on Friday.
Who's playing?
Yeah, he's playing like an acoustic set, I think.
Please ask him if he doesn't to do SpongeBob. Have you seen him do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain
Lips like
everyone.
pineapple under this, yeah.
I'm pretty certain everyone's going to ask him to do that because I swear he must get asked at every show.
He did it once as a joke, and then he realised, shit, I'm going to have to do this all the time now.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where he's kind of done that now once. Everyone expects him to do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to scream.
Dude, I think we could speak.
I'm not going to be that guy.
I think we could speak for a hell of a lot longer, but for the purpose of making a nice recording
and an easier job for Luke.
Yeah, because Luke's post. My job's done after we've hit stop on the recording, so then Luke's got loads to do after this.
Luke's got to edit it.
But we have got a mini game to play, so we'll finish our actual podcast there.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, honestly, as I said, I reckon
we could have chatted for another 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even stretch onto all the subject. You have to come back.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one.
Well, how about exactly this time next year we do it again?
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah, the sequel.
The sequel.
the
remake.
Yeah. Honestly, no, thank you very much, man.
Cheers, man.
Been good speaking to you.
Even though we didn't really talk about tattoos.
Not much.
We don't need to talk about tattoos. Everyone knows about tattoos.
Oh, they're boring.
They hurt.
Yeah.